Yes, all right. Good evening. Good evening to you. Good evening, everyone, ladies and gentlemen. It is another Friday here at Corporate Live Show with McAden, and definitely I remain my humble self, Adeniyi Macarthy. You can call me McAden. So thank you very much for everyone joining us tonight. For tonight's conversation, it's going to be an powerful one. It's going to be a life-changing conversation, as we always have it here on the show. So tonight is not going to be an exception as usual. As usual, if you are joining us right now on the show, kindly kindly drop a comment in the comment section. Let's get to meet you. Let's get to know where you're joining us from for tonight's conversation. Remember, this is Corporate Live with McAden, and here in the studio, I have with me my guest who will be discussing the topic work hard, not hustle, and gain financial control. And this is a perfect time for this conversation. I can tell you for sure, with the likes of the economic meltdown and the subsidy coming into the situation of the economy we have in the country right now, coupled with the floating naira to dollar, I really cannot say that this is not needed right now, because I'm so sure that we all need to be here right now. And if you're joining us, drop a comment in the comment section. Let's get to know where you're joining us from. Then let's get to know you. Definitely, we're gonna bring our greetings to you, and then also share with the world that yes, we have you present on the show tonight, and there we will be able to acknowledge your presence. Thank you very much. Tonight is another time for this conversation here at Corporate Live Show with McAden. And remember, the topic for tonight's discussion is work hard, not hustle. We're gonna know the difference from tonight's conversation. We're gonna be able to distinguish what makes hustle different from working itself. I mean, why should you not hustle compared to the general opinion of you hustling? And if you must have heard several times the word or the statement, double your hustle. And tonight, we're telling you, don't double that hustle. Stop hustling and start doing the work. All right, tonight is no exception. As I said earlier on, for tonight's conversation, is not just me that will be having this conversation. As you can see, we have our guest coming up tonight to have this conversation with us, and it will be doing justice to this conversation as we bring up questions, and we believe that you may have questions also. Please, if you have questions on the conversation tonight, please, regarding the topic we're considering tonight, just drop it in the comments. Remember, before we get to the question and answer session, the interview session, let's get to know you, where you are joining us from. If you are live with us right now, remember, we are also live on LinkedIn and YouTube. For tonight's show, we are live on LinkedIn and YouTube at Corporate Live with McAden. That's on YouTube channel, Corporate Live with McAden. So I'll be going straight to the question and answer once I introduce our guest. Remember, as usual, we would like you to drop your comment as we continue in the conversation. Thank you very much. I'll be bringing up my guest tonight. Is a special one. We will be talking more about himself as I bring him all to the studio. Because of our time, I may not be able to read his bio, but then we will display his bio so that you can take a look at what he has as a person, and is no other person. Is no other person than Caleb. Thank you very much, Mr. Caleb, for joining us tonight. Are you there? Please.
All
Thank
right,
you, Mr.
thank you
Caleb.
for having me. Good evening, everyone.
Yeah, good evening to you too. How are you doing this Friday?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm excited to be here tonight.
I'm sure that our audience too are excited like me. Myself, I'm excited. I can say that yes, for sure, I'm going to get value for the conversation tonight. I'll prepare you for us tonight, Mr. Caleb.
Yeah, of course. We're just going to do what we need to do tonight. I'm very prepared.
All right, thank you very much. I can remember we had this conversation while we were trying to bring up this topic with you. I mean, while we're trying to invite you, you have this notion of I mean this feeling against the world hustling. What happened? I think I should use this opportunity to find out what happened. Why so much detest.
Okay, can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you, please.
Can you
I
hear
can.
me?
Yes, I can hear you, please. Go ahead.
All right, all right. Thank you very much once again for having me on the show. All right, so basically, when I was actually sent the topic and I saw the word hustle, and of course, I had to send the signal back because personally, I actually don't identify with that word. Of course, few years ago, there's a general acceptability of such word hustle where people talk about the fact that they are hustling. Even when you meet a friend, in the course of a conversation with a friend, the next thing you want to ask is how the hustle. There's just this general acceptability of the word, and people don't really take out time to really study some of these words that people use in
Mm,
a general space. And if you want to look at the word hustle, in as much as people have a good intention of what they want to describe, but many times they don't know that they are using the wrong word for what they want to actually describe. So the word
mm,
hustle basically is actually trying to do things illicitly,
mm,
trying to put people on duress to actually get what you want, even against their will. Trying to
mm,
do things illegally, trying to those who actually do prostitution, they are actually called, whatever they do is hustling. So something that has to do with hustling talks about you doing things illegally, you being desperate. All right, so there's a difference between being desperate and being deliberate. When you
mm,
hustle, you are desperate, but when you walk, you are deliberate. All right, so it's more
mm-hmm.
dignified to actually use the word, walk. And I mean,
Right.
check through the Bible. There is nowhere you will see the word hustle in the Bible. Even when you want to
Mm,
look at synonyms of words or the root words of so many words that was used in the Bible, you will never see anywhere that hustle is being used. All of the time you realize that the word work is used repeatedly. So this hustle thing, is just an environmental thing that people has actually adopted, for which they actually don't know that they're using the wrong word to actually describe what they truly want to say. So if you have something that if you have something that you do that is worthwhile, that help you make ends meet, you are actually working, hustling. So the word hustle is very illegal, action when you try to do some certain things, make money out there and all of that. So when you are doing something dignified, when you are doing something that is appropriate, you don't use the word hustle, you use the word work.
all right. Thank you very much. Thank you. That will be stable as soon as possible. Can you hear me, Mr. Caleb? Okay, I guess this network issue is not just at my hand, and I think at this point I will say, or maybe it is allowed to say that our network provider are hustling. I really cannot say, I really cannot justify that statement. But then, the situation of things in the country has made us to feel as if everyone is hustling, and Mr. Caleb is here on the show tonight. This is Corporate Live with McAden. Thank you very much, Mr. Caleb. Thank you
All right, thank
for
you.
that
Yeah.
expansion. I mean, it's enlightening to hear that brief explanation, the difference between hustling uh, and doing the work
Well,
itself. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I think I quite agree with you. Some time ago, I think 2 years ago during COVID time, or immediately after COVID, an organization called W Hustle came up, and it sounded as if from that moment the adoption became very high. It increased the acceptability of that word in
well,
the
yeah.
public, that everyone has, even in the church, highs or side hustle, highs or side hustle. Um, Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So we're moving on with the conversation. This is Corporate Live with McAden, and I am your host today. And here with me in the studio tonight is Mr. Caleb. We'll be doing justice to all our questions if you have any. Someone asked me during one of our publicity for this show. He asked a question, though that is not part of the list of questions we have for tonight's discussion. But let me just quickly ask you, if you don't want to use the word work, for Nigerians, a typical Nigerian want another word to explain what it does apart from the fact that he is working.
Okay.
So what word will you adopt to describe something that you do aside from what you do regularly in an organization or in an office as a professional or so?
Okay, you can still use the word side work. It doesn't have to be side hustle. So the word work is work. All right. So you can still use the
Okay.
work side work, or probably you are, kind of having an extra stream of income, So you can talk to your friends and like, oh, I have something else that I'm doing that's giving me extra income. So it doesn't have to be the word hustle. All right. So for me, the word
Mm,
work is the word work. So whenever you work, you work. All right. So if you have something else that you do, and of course, please let's not get it mixed up. The word work is different from job. Job is not work.
mm,
All right.
mhm,
Work is something that you were born to do. Job is something that they pay you to do. All right.
mm,
When you work, you determine your income. But when you have a job, somebody else determines your income. So there are big
mm,
difference
mm.
between work and job. So if you have a job, they pay you salary. That is pretty much not work, right? That is you have a job, right? So but you can still have a job and still work. Okay. Let me explain how that works. So you can have a job, and while you are in your job, you are actually working, because when you work, you make impact. When you work, you 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 actually
Yeah. And so enough Caleb, and I hope you, Mr. I would like you to share more light on that part. Can you hear me, please?
yeah, I can tell you.
I do hope that thing really gonna affect the show in the beginning in a nice way. I enjoy the content and we are enjoying skill work. I do hope we can get in with life. This is they were about yes, uh, is what you want to use to the so they can understand why you should not call yourself a hustler and start adopting the word sidewalk, not side hustle. Don't say you are doing side hustle anymore. Say you are doing sidewalk. And maybe at the end of the show, I will share my word with you for sidewalk if you don't want to call sidewalk. So it's been a conversation, and I do hope Mr. Caleb returns back quickly so that we can continue with the conversation, so that we can get the best out of tonight's session. And remember, it's Corporate Diet with McAden. If you're watching us live and direct right now, let's get to know where you are watching us from. Let's get to meet you. Let's get to know what's your opinion about the topic we're discussing tonight. Mr. Caleb is back. Mr. Caleb, thank you. Thank you for coming back. Thank you.
All
Thank
right,
you. I
thank
guess the network is really messing up things over there for you.
Yeah, so but I just tried to reset the whole network thing, but I think we'll have a better connection henceforth.
Okay, okay. Thank you very much. So, quickly, I think we left it there at the point where you are describing the difference between your work and your job, and I think that's where the network threw you out. Before we go straight to the questions we have.
Okay, so like I said, job is something you are paid to do. Work is something that you are born to do. All right. When you have a job, somebody determines your income. But when you work, all right, you determine your income, you determine what you make. All right. And of
Mm-hmm,
course, having a job, it's when somebody else controls your time. But when you
mm-hmm,
work, you determine your time. You determine how you regulate your time. And when you work, you work to make an impact. It's something that you were actually born to do. You work to make an impact. But many times
mm-hmm,
when you have a job, you just only work, or you just only do your task to just meet a particular criteria in your office. So what I was trying to say is the fact that you can have a job and still work. All right. So what that
mm-hmm,
means is you don't work, you actually don't do your activities in the place where you are employed with the salary mentality. No, you do your activity to make an impact in that office. All right. So now, to better explain this, I think I was actually having a meeting with some guys in Uniben in Benin City precisely, and I talked about the fact that you need to be able to solve problems. You need to be able to
mm-hmm,
solve problems and create value in the marketplace for you to attract the kind of income that you want. And somebody stood up and asked that, okay, for example, I have a job. How do I solve problems? How do I start a business? I am not a business person. Then I said, you don't need to have a business to solve problems.
yeah,
Wherever you wherever you find yourself, even when you are being paid salary, you can solve problems in your office. So you don't just
Yeah.
work because you want to get paid monthly. You actually do whatever you're doing because you want to make an impact. Because whenever there's a decision to lay off staffs, you who is actually solving problems beyond your tasks we definitely want to first of all be promoted, and you would not actually be on the list because you are more important to them than what they are just paying you. Because without you, there are so many problems that is going to be left unsolved. So that's why you make
Mm,
yourself almost indispensable in whatever space you find yourself. And guess what? It's a mindset, it's a mentality. I always
mm.
tell people you don't work because you want to earn salary. You work either because you want to learn or because you want to make an impact in wherever you find yourself. So it's critical for you to understand that.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that school of thought. And I think that is the right school of thought. That is one of the important things we want to share with all our audience on the show, especially the essence of us. I mean, putting up several activities in place at Corporate Life Show. We have a team of people working together to make sure, aside from the fact that we go to our various place of work to do our jobs, we also try to make impact as much as time permits us to do. And that's one of the things we are doing here at Corporate Life. And thank you very much, Mr. Caleb, for doing that with us tonight. Going straight to the first question for tonight, even though we've had several questions in between questions. And the first
Yeah.
question tonight is, what are the differences between doing the work and hustling when it comes to income generation and financial control?
Okay, I think I've answered a little bit of that because whether you call it hustle or you call it work, all right, the whole idea is for you to make an income. All right. So, but many times a lot of people use the wrong word for the right thing. So you have a business that you do, or maybe you have a job, and maybe you have a 9 to 5. Then from your 5 to 9, you have something else that you do, and the next thing you say you are doing side hustle. You are actually
Mm,
working as long as whatever you're doing is legal, whatever you're doing is productive, whatever you're doing is not deceitful, whatever you're doing is not trying to mount pressure on people. It's not a fraudulent thing. It's something that you do from your heart of heart, legally to make extra income. You're actually doing a side work. All right. So whichever way,
mhm,
the idea is people are doing the right thing, but they are actually using the wrong word to describe it. And of course, it's not their fault. It's just that a lot of people try to mix up with the crowd. All right. So but many
mm,
times it's not about what the people are doing or what the crowd is saying. It's you understanding the words that you use and understanding the meaning behind the words, because whatever you describe a thing as, many times that is the productivity it brings to you. So if you describe what you do as a work, something that is dignified, you will definitely get such results. But when you describe something that you do from a standpoint of hustle, many times you realize that at the end of the day, there's this mindset that makes people want to be desperate. This mindset that makes people want to, work from a standpoint of, looks as though they are suffering, all right, or they are trying to,
mm.
push people to do some certain things that they don't want to do. So it's important that you do the right thing and describe it the right way, all right, so you can get the right result at the end of the day.
All right, thank you very much. Do the right thing, have the right mindset, and get the right results. That's the word from there. Thank you very much, Mr. Caleb. Going straight to the next question because of our time. Um, how can individuals strike a balance between working and, I mean, working diligently and hustling to maximize their income potential?
All right. So I think that also revolves around the whole idea between work and hustling. All right. So when it comes to maximizing your income potential, you will have to understand that there are two things that must be put in place when it comes to generating income. First, you must have a value that people can pay you for. And secondly,
Mm.
you must understand that time is also a critical factor. All right. So if you have a job, for instance, and of course you want to maximize your income potential, you must understand that, for example, there are so many people who embark on a job, that doesn't really give them the opportunity to do other things. All right. So it's also very
Mm.
critical for you to understand what you truly want. What are your financial targets? What are your income goals? All right. What are your financial goals? So if whatever job you want to take on, it doesn't fit with your income target or your financial goals, then you have to probably look for something else. But on the other hand, if you actually want to take on a job and you realize that that job aligns with some of the things you want to learn. So because the idea of job is not just, for you to just earn money. The idea of job is also for you to learn. All right. So you have to have the right mindset. You personally, even though I've never worked for anybody, even though I've been in a position where I don't know what salary means. All right, but I could still decide to take on a job. But the essence, the reason why I would decide to take on a job is probably there's something in that company that I want to learn, or there are people, or there's somebody in that company that I want to associate with. That when I take on that job, while I do my tax, I grow in the process. While I do my
Mm-hmm.
tax, I connect with people in the process. While I do my
Mm-hmm.
tax, I ensure I become better in the process. So your job ought to improve you rather than depreciating you. So your job
Mm.
ought to make you better rather than leaving you in a particular place where you were when you got the job. So it's very critical that before you look at, okay, this is what I want to do, you have to understand that if that thing has to improve you. All right. So when you have that mindset, you realize that you'll be able to direct your thoughts from the angle of having a um, having to work, other than just trying to hustle. Somebody who have a mindset of hustling will not think about learning more. Somebody who have a
Mm.
mindset of hustling always think about money. And let me tell you the truth, money is never a
Mm.
problem. Money is not
Mm.
our problem, even though everybody is looking for money. But the design of money, it's not for you to look for it. The design is for you to attract money. All right. And you
Mm.
attract money with the person you become. You attract money with your personal growth. All right. So I usually use a magnet and a metal for an illustration. If you have a magnet, that has a low capacity, it can only attract a metal with low, kilogram, or with low smaller weight. But when you increase the capacity of the magnet, it can attract a bigger metal. So you are the magnet, the metal is the income, the metal is the money you want. So when you grow, when your capacity grow, when your earning potential grow, the kind of money that you want is attracted to you. So we are actually moving magnets. All right. So we
Mm-hmm.
were not designed to pursue money. We were actually designed to attract money. So it's critical that we have our mindset from the angle of attraction, other than the angle of trying to pursue some of the things that we want,
Mm.
because it doesn't matter how much you try. It's not about what you want, it's about who you are.
Mm. Interesting. Interesting. It's not about what you want, it's about who you are. Are you a magnet pulling money to yourself? That's the word for me. I would rather become a magnet than trying to pursue money in a way. Thank you very much. It's been a conversation. And if you have learned something, please drop a comment in the comment section. Now, let's get to know how much of impact this conversation has meant to you, how it has impacted you, your life, and what is going to change going forward. This is a conversation here at Corporate Live with McAden, and tonight with me on the show is no other person than Mr. Caleb, the financial master. Let me put it that way for him tonight. And then, please, as you listen on this conversation tonight, don't be selfish with that information that you're gathering here. Quickly. Just press the like button, follow us on the YouTube channel, and Click the share button so that others can follow and also enjoy this weekly show, because we've been week in week out giving out values on this show. And because of our time, I quickly want to say, Mr. Emmanuel, Mr. Caleb, thank you for doing this with us. I really appreciate the values you've been dishing out so far. Moving on straight to the next question. We will be looking at strategies. What strategies can the individual employ to ensure they are focused on productive work rather than aimless hustling? That's the question. Aimless hustling.
All right, so now let's direct it to the word productivity. What does it mean to act to be productive? All right, so now Nigeria as a country has a whole lot of issue with productivity, and that is the reason why you realize that we have crude oil, but we don't refine crude oil. We have crude oil, we export crude oil only for the same people who we export crude oil to refine it and send it back to us. All right. So the
Mm,
idea of productivity is for you to give out from your refined state, give out
mm,
from your growth state. That is why it is you are not allowed to share your oil. You are only allowed to give your light. All right, so let me give an example. For instance, if I give you a book, you are not expected to give out the book. You are supposed to read the book, let the book improve you, and you give out from what you've learned from the book. All right. So
yeah.
productivity is actually you giving out from your refined state, not giving out from your weakness, but giving out from your strength. All right. So it is critical that we understand that it is all about value creation. So some of the strategies for you to be productive is you constantly develop yourself. It is a game of knowledge. Anybody
Mm,
who is productive, who is more productive than you are, know something that you don't know. The difference between Elon Musk and some of the poor guys around the world is the difference is knowledge. All right, the difference between the rich and the poor is knowledge. It is always a knowledge gap. So if you know what they know, you will do what they do. And I usually tell people, again, money has never been a challenge, because if you take all the money from all the wealthy people around the world and share it among everyone in the world in equal proportion, it's only a matter of time. The money will leave those people, the people who have the poor mindset, the money will leave them and go back to the same people that the money was collected from. So what is the difference? The difference is the fact that these guys understand the role of knowledge, because anytime you pay for a resources or anytime you pay for something, there is somebody who is delivering a particular kind of value that you on your own ordinarily you know cannot actually do without. All right, so strategies for you to employ, and for you to be focused on productivity is actually you developing yourself. I tell people all the time, the best investment you can ever do is not investment in land, it's not investment in cryptocurrency, it's not investment in forex, treasury bills, and what have you. The best investment is investment in yourself, because whenever you invest in yourself, even if you leave Nigeria to anywhere in the world, the knowledge that you have will take you anywhere, and you can always use that knowledge anywhere you find yourself. So we are not actually stranded, we are actually uneducated. So the idea of productivity is for you to grow. The more you
mm,
grow, the more you see opportunities. And guess what? Opportunities are actually around us. There is a law called the law of recognition. The law of recognition says anything you need is actually around you, only awaiting your recognition. So whatever you are
mm,
not seeing, the kind of opportunity you are not seeing is actually a direct proportional to the fact that you have not come to a level in your life where you can recognize opportunities. Opportunities are around you. The ability for you to be productive are around you. but you need to grow to be able to accept, or to be able to, be in the same frequency with the kind of
Hmm.
productivity that you want. So we are all energy beings. We are all energy beings. We actually radiate energy to the universe. And guess what? The energy that the universe gives back to us is a directly proportional to the energy we give to the universe. So whatever it supplies is what you are actually donating. So if you want a better life, what you need to do is to supply the universe with a more productive life, with a better energy. So when you supply the energy comes back to you. All right. So, and I tell people, one of the best advice I can give to any human being on earth is put yourself in a ritual where you learn something every single day. The more you learn,
Hmm.
the more you earn. The more you earn, the more you are productive. Or let me put it this way: the more you learn, the more you can be productive. And the more productive you are, the more your earning potential. Thank you.
Wow, interesting, interesting. I wanted to stop you at the moment to what tell you that time is not on our side, and but I feel reluctant to do that because what you are saying is actually of valuable. I mean I mean what's most important to any professional out there listening to us. I mean, paying attention to what we're saying right now on the show, and I just feel reluctant to what put a stop to that conversation. Thank you very much, Mr. Caleb. Thank you very much.
Thank
I'm so happy what we're doing this. I'm so glad that we had doing this tonight. So thank you very much. Quickly moving on to the next question. The next question is, since we've talked about strategies and balancing up things, how does taking practice approach to managing income contribute to financial stability and control? How do we do that?
All right. So the idea of management is very critical when it comes to having your finances under control. Now, the first thing everyone need to understand is the fact that money itself is designed to flow. That is why it's called currency. Money is a current, it flows by default. The design of money is that money, whenever it comes to you, it also wants to leave to the next set of people. All right. So that's why you realize that there are some thoughts that are in your mind before you get money. But when those money comes, there's a kind of thoughts that are just triggered. For example, you actually walked into a particular location. Probably you maybe you bought a bus there, or maybe a taxi or whatever. Now all of a sudden you saw an alert of 50 million naira in your account. That is the first time you would realize that you actually did not drive to that place. That's the first time you would tell yourself, why will I be trekking, or why will I come to this place, without my own car? Why? Because there's
Hmm.
money in your account now. All right. So the next thing you are thinking about, what's the next problem I need to solve? Now, problem now, it's you creating more expenditures. And guess what? There's a law
Hmm.
called the Pakistan law of money. The Pakistan law says whenever you have an income, your expenditures will always rise to the level of your income. So if you are earning 50 to 100K on a monthly basis, that's the level of your expenditures. That's your problem. That's the level of problem you will have.
Mm-hmm.
Immediately your income increases to 1 million. You don't know where the problems are coming from. You realize that your expenditures level will just move to what, 900K. It will always catch
Hmm.
up. So it's necessary for you to have control. And I dare say that if you don't control money and you allow money to control you, you will definitely lose control. All right. And there are three things you must understand about money. The first, you must understand how to make money, how to manage money, and how to multiply money. A lot of people know how to make, but they don't know how to manage and multiply. Some other persons know how to manage, but they don't know so much how to make and multiply. But you must have the three. So management has to do with, now you are getting an income. What you do with the income determine your financial, determine how stable you will be financially. And I tell people it's not a matter of how much your income is, it's what you are
Hmm.
doing with it.
With
All
it.
right, because you can be making money 1 million monthly, but your what you spend is 900,000 monthly. So it's not about how much you can make, it's how much you can retain. So the retainership of money, it's what we call the management. So management, you have to understand how to save and why you save. You have to understand record keeping and you know and the essence of record keeping. You have to understand budgeting. Budgeting is telling your money where to go before it arrives. Budgeting
Hmm.
is you navigating your money before you get it. So if you are expecting 500K, you would have budgeted what that money is used for, because whether or not you plan for your money, somebody else will plan for it. So you
Mm-hmm.
must have a plan for whatever income you make. So when you have a plan, it helps you to navigate your way and do the right thing with your money. All right. So that's so because of time, I just have to, run through all of that. So management has to do with you understanding how to save, budget, keep record on your expenditures, and at the end of the day, know what to cut down, know the things you need, know the things you don't need, know the things that are critical and the things that are not critical, and all of that. So it's just for you to have a personal control about your cash flow. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I want to plead with you, Mr. Caleb, because of our time. We have list of questions here, and I can hardly put you on a whole. I mean, I can hardly stop you from saying whatever you want to explain
Okay.
to the audience. But then, as much as possible, try to summarize your response to each of the questions. We have
All
about
right, I
six
will do
questions
that.
left. Thank you very much. Now, moving on straight to the next question. Remember, this is Couple Live with McAden. If you're joining us, drop a comment. Let's get to know where you're joining us from. What are you feeling? How are you feeling about this conversation? How is it changing your life? And let's get to know what you're doing next, different from what you used to do. Moving on to the next question is, what are some of the practical steps individual can take towards to double their income? Because that's the way the idea of hustling comes from. So doubling your income and while maintaining a healthy work-life balance.
All right. Based on Robert Kiyosaki's, cash flow quadrant, there are four ways every human being on earth makes money, irrespective of your color or your location. There are four ways. That's what the cash flow quadrant talks about. We have the E, we have the B, we have the E, the S, the B, and the I. So the E talks about employment, the S talk about self-employed. So if you already have a job, you can have handwork, something that you do, handwork like a part-time stuff. Maybe you can be a fashion designer on the side, and or maybe you are a caterer or you bake cakes and what have you. So that can also give you extra income. Then we also have the business owners quadrant. That's where you leverage on an existing system. Probably you want to go into a network marketing business. I know of a guy who actually was actually working in the bank at the time. That was around 2013, 2014, and he was actually in the same network marketing program with myself. All right. So, and we made a whole lot of money while he was in the bank. He qualified for incentives, international trips, qualified for cars and what have you. All right. So why the last part is called the investors quadrant. So you can work or have a job. A fraction of whatever you make on a monthly basis is something you can put aside through savings. Then when it's enough for you to invest, you convert that savings to an investment that can generate passive income. So while you work, you earn passive income. And the reason it's important is because you would not be, in few years from now, you will not be threatened by loss of job. Why? Because you work or you don't work, your passive income can actually surface for your lifestyle, can pay your bills and what have you. So if they decide to lay you off any of the days, you are still fine. All right. So that's why it's important you have an investment on the side. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Going to straight to the next question, Mr. Caleb, is how can individuals identify and prioritize income generation activities that align the skills with the skills and passions they've gotten? Because earlier on you mentioned something about job and work, and you explain some of the difference between both. So in these questions, how can individuals identify and prioritize income generation generating activities that align with their skills and passion?
All right. So whenever I talk about income and when I teach about income, one thing I always try to let people understand is the fact that income is actually you being able to solve people's problem. All right. There are a lot of people that are making good income even when it's not their passion. So it's not a function of passion. Of course, at times you get to a point whereby whatever problem you are solving is in line with your passion. That is okay. For example, what passion do Dangote have with cement? All right, Dangote is into the cement business. I'm not sure Dangote is passionate about cement. All right, there are a lot of people who do business, who offer products and services that probably they are not passionate about. So what you look at first is, do you have a market for a particular product or a particular service? When you can identify a hungry market, what you need to do is to feed that market. All right. So when you make the money, because many times your passion doesn't have the capacity to give you the kind of income that you need, especially when
Hmm.
your passion is still growing. So what you need to do is, while you are building your passion by the side, for example, coaching and speaking is what I have passion to do. All right. But I have businesses that I do, so that even when you don't pay me for my coaching, even when you don't pay me for speaking engagement, I don't get home and be hungry. All right. So, and that's why even when people identify something as their passion, they become almost over deliberate. Why? Because they make their passion something that fits them. So before your passion gets to a point where it starts feeding you, you must have something, a business that you are doing that literally solves problems. So when your passion grows, you can now start directing your energy to improving the skills around your passion and what have you. All right. So, and one thing that you must understand is, the more skills you learn, the more opportunities you are open to. The more skill you learn, the more opportunities you are open to. I'm just trying to summarize what I need to do. Hello, are you there? Hello, I guess his network on his end.
Okay, all right. So thank you very much, guys. I'm so sorry. So sorry. The network issue here has been uh a serious one. I don't want to start mentioning network providers, but it's funny how network provider can just disappear. And thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for all those who join us in the conversation. Thank you very much for tonight's discussion. Thank you, Mr. Thank you, Mr. Caleb, for holding forth. I've been trying to, I'm moving between network onto another network, and I hope you can hear me, please.
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, so sorry. I had a challenge with my router. I'm not using the modem, I'm using the router, and suddenly the network just disappeared, and I've been battling with that for some minutes now. I'm currently using my phone to connect. Uh, I I do hope we can wrap up the conversation with this mobile phone as we go move on between the questions that are available for us for the conversation. I do hope that is fine by you.
Yeah, it's okay. Can you hear me? It's okay.
Mr. Emmanuel, can you hear me, please?
Yes, we can move on. I can hear you.
I mean, Mr. Caleb, can you hear me?
Yeah, sure, I can hear you. I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay, so I'm using my phone currently. So let's just quickly tackle the rest of the questions so that we can wrap up the conversation for tonight. And then have a great night. Yes, most of our audience may not be here right now because of this network issue. But for record purpose, Mr. Emmanuel, Mr. Caleb, can you hear me, please? Did you hear the question?
No, 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 I couldn't hear you.
Okay, the question is what role does
Network.
the common Nigerian network is not sustainable for this conversation because I'm using the phone network. We may have to call it a night for tonight's conversation. So sorry, guys. So sorry for all the inconveniences for tonight's discussion. I apologize. I can't. Let me just take the blame. Let me not push the blame to the network provider. Let me just take the blame. Mr. Caleb, thank you very much for your time. Thank you for staying to this time for this conversation. I believe for the few minutes that we were able to speak, I believe our audience got enough value to take from this conversation, and I do hope that from this conversation, the mindset will shift from um, an hustler to someone who work. And I promised the audience earlier on that at the end of the conversation, my home word for those who does side work will be private practice. So if you want to use a right word, a professional word to explain what you do as a professional, you can just tell your whoever you are explaining that to as your private practice, and it's called PP, commonly called PP. So you can relate to that as PP, which is private practice. So it's been a conversation here in the studio tonight. It's been a wonderful session. I do hope our audience are able to get one or two things from tonight's conversation. The network is really fluctuating right now, so we will have to wrap up the conversation. Thank you very much, Mr. Caleb, for doing this with us tonight. I don't know if you have any final word. I don't know if network will allow you to be able to speak right now as we bring the show to a close with your final statement.
All right. First of all, thank you again, and pretty much just general encouragement to people to ensure that we are living in a time where it looks pretty much like things are hard, but in a recent, I usually tell people the money did not go anywhere. The money is still with us here. But the difference between those who have the money and those who don't have it is the fact that they are offering a particular value that is irresistible. That's why people are actually paying them. Even when you don't have money, people will still pay them for the value that they carry. So it's all about is a value game. Just consistently increase your value by personal development, learning more, learning scarce skills. Or like, all right, so learn and own scarce skills. So when you keep learning scarce skills, you realize that the market that you want to deliver your skill to, it's a huge market. All right. So when you have such kind of skill, money will look for you. So it is critical that you understand how this thing work. Position yourself in a way whereby people want to sought after you. For example, there's a kind of skill and value you will carry, the poor will look for you. There's a kind of skill and value you will carry, only the rich will look for you. But there's a kind of skill and value you will carry, all men will look for you. The Bible said in during the time of Jesus, the Bible said all men seek for him. All right, so it's a value game. It's a value game. Just keep developing, keep reading, keep going for seminars, improve your skill, get to a point whereby you are almost indispensable. When you get to that point, people will beg you with their money. Why? Because you have a problem. You have a solution to their problem. All right. So that is my final word for us tonight.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Caleb, for doing this with us on the show tonight. This is Corporate Live with McAden. Yes, thank you very much, audience, for staying tuned to this hour. This is unusual. I can't remember the last time we had a show for 1.5 hours. So thank you very much, everyone. It's been a weekend. It's been a wonderful day. It's been a wonderful and interesting session. And for from my hand here, I want to say a very good thank you to Mr. Caleb also for taking our time to do this with us and also staying till the end, not being discouraged by the issues we have with network. So thank you very much once again. And I say thank you,
All
everyone.
right. Thank you.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. Bye bye to everyone. Remember, this is Corporate Live.